Hello. Here I drink coffee and ramble about the cool stuff that I want to do. So, welcome back to all the real ones. Today I'm going to be talking about the training that I'm doing for my Grand Pacific Crest Trail adventure. So, let's make coffee and get into it. Also, by the way, this is Jedi. He's my little tripod shepherd. So, just a little disclaimer. I have no formal education. I am just following what information I can find on the internet and throwing it all together in a little plan for me. I have little to no idea what I'm doing. And I don't do this all of the time. This would be like a perfect week in my life. So first we have number 1, and that is hiking. I know, it's groundbreaking. Going into tax season, I really don't have time to be doing the one thing that I should be doing, which is hiking. But I am aiming for 10 to 15 miles a week, whether that's one longer day or broken up over a couple days on the weekend. I am also carrying the pack that I hope I will be bringing on the Pacific Crest Trail. I just want to get familiar with it and familiar with the weight. So I do have my full base weight, plus water and snacks, and it usually ends up being around 25 to 30 pounds. And I do load up the pack with random things because I don't quite have all of my gear yet. And I try to go on different trails every time I go out, and I really focus on finding trails that have a lot of vertical gain. For number 2, I am walking, and walking as much as I possibly can. So I aim for anywhere between 25,000 and 40,000 steps a day. And with my desk treadmill at work, this is very easy for me to achieve. Maybe not easy, but it is something that I can achieve. I also walk my dog 2 to 3 times a day. And I do have a weighted vest that I either feel kind of like a police officer or an old woman in, so it is a little embarrassing to wear. But it weighs 16 pounds, and I do try to wear it as much as possible. Sometimes if I want to be extra, I will wear it while I'm walking at work, but only if I know that nobody's going to walk into my office. People already think it's weird enough that I walk and work at the same time. So if they were to walk into my office and I'm wearing this like weighted tactical vest and I'm all sweaty, it's just kind of off-putting. And I know that walking this much is not going to be the same thing as walking on trail, but it is something that's achievable for me, and I'm hoping that at least it will toughen up my feet and knees a little bit. For number 3, I have been biking. I used to have a very long bike commute of 22 miles round trip, but then I moved in with my boyfriend who lives much closer to my office. I think it's 5 miles round trip, and it's completely flat the whole time. Although I can only do it a couple days a week right now because I have to bring this one in with me. And I swear nothing can get my heart rate up like biking can, so it's definitely something that I want to include. I would like to get in some mountain biking, but with how busy I am and how much other training I'm doing, it's proving to be very difficult. I have been very interested in bike commuting for a while now, and I have done it on and off for a few years. I am very interested, and I want to say I'm a huge proponent of bike commuting and public transportation as opposed to cars, but it is admittedly hard in the US. I go through phases where I'm very anti-car, but then I get discouraged because of the car brain culture here. The car culture in the US is unfortunately very strong. I would love for some of the infrastructure to change, but I don't know if that will ever happen. But once you get through that initial push and you just do it, it really isn't that bad. There are some bad days, but it does a lot for my mental health. Okay, so number 4 is running. I try to run 5 times a week because I am actually training for a marathon right before I head out to trail. So I am following a training plan that's based on weekly mileage. So some days are shorter miles and some days are longer. About once a week I do go on an easier jog with my dog. Because he is a heavy breed tripod, we only go for short sessions and I let him set the pace, but it's usually a full out sprint. This dog definitely loves to run, and his vet says that it's okay in short sessions. I feel like running is one of those things that's so hard in the beginning, but once you are conditioned to it, it actually becomes a little fun. I've actually had dreams where I'm like running on a trail and there's like mountains and lakes, and I'm just like so happy, but I don't know, I'm weird. In the very beginning, when I first started running, I took it very easy and I would like jog for 10 seconds and then walk for 50 seconds. And I just built that over time to going as long as I could, which admittedly isn't very long. I am trying to aim for distance rather than pace at the moment, but I also can't help but notice that my pace is steadily improving. I think it's really exciting when you see progress in a sport. So for the 5th thing that I'm doing, I am lifting. So I do 2 full body sessions a week, and each session first has a strength component. So I do exercises that I want to gain strength in. Mainly those are hip thrust, squats, push-ups, and pull-ups. And then after that, I will do a simple full body routine with lighter weights. I also try to do 15 to 20 minutes of core work before I start this, but I hate doing core. So in the full body part of the routine, I do a lot of shoulder work, lunges. I would like to add in some exercises that are specific to building strength in my ankles, but I have yet to do that. I also would like to add in some more plyometric work. I think I do like 2 exercises that are plyometric based. I just want to be as well-rounded of an athlete as possible. I would like to even just be able to call myself an athlete. In the past, I have done exercise programs like P90X, and my brother, who is super into lifting, has taught me a few things and made sure that my form is good. But lifting is definitely very intimidating, especially when you go to a gym with a bunch of lifting bros. I do have a gym at my mom's that I use, but I am trying to step out of my comfort zone a little bit and use the gym at my climbing gym. So for the 6th item, I am doing yoga. So I try to do 1 yoga session around 1 hour per week. I feel like yoga is really hard for me to get into in the beginning because I want to say it's almost boring. I think that it really is a mind exercise as well, but I know when I do it consistently, I feel very limber and I just feel so much better. I also think that the stretching and strength component of it is very good for preventing injury. I have never had a formal yoga lesson. I should probably take one. So I kind of have just followed videos on YouTube to learn. So I'm probably doing a lot of the poses wrong, but if it feels good, then... And for the 7th and last activity, I am just doing general stretching. So I try to stretch for 10 to 15 minutes, 5 to 6 times a week. And in my stretching routine, I'm putting a lot of emphasis on getting into the splits. Just because I've always wanted to do the splits, so why not at 32? I'm also getting a lot older and realizing how important it is to prevent injury, just because I don't want to be one of those people that's always in pain. Also, I just don't want to get injured. So we're working on it in a gentle and easy way to get in the splits. I'm really going to take my time. My friend, who is a professional ice skater, can get into the splits, and it's just like the coolest thing I've ever seen. So she's been giving me a lot of tips and kind of guiding me through the process. For bonus points, I try to get in the sauna for 10 to 15 minutes. I try to go for 2 times a week. I was listening to Backpacker Radio and they were mentioning how going in the sauna might help prepare you for the desert heat. And since I don't do well with heat at all, I think that would be a really good thing to prepare for. I also try to get on the stair climber every so often. I will do that instead of my treadmill 3-mile run, just to mix it up a little bit. Another thing that I want to mention is that I have worked up to all of this. It's not like I just rolled out of bed one day and was like, this is what I'm doing from now on. Because I have done that in the past, and when you go that hard that quick, it's really hard to maintain it. I think I mentioned in my first video how I just started with walking. And at that time, if I hit 25,000 steps, that was like a huge deal. And now it's not uncommon for me to go over 40,000 steps in a day. I have also just started adding on this much running and lifting and stretching. To be honest, my goal for the new year was to start lifting again because I stopped around September, so I'm kind of brand new with lifting. So I'm going to take it easy and progressive overload. So this is what I'm trying to do each week. Sometimes I miss a run or a hike, and a lot of the time I miss doing core work, and that's perfectly fine. I just do what I can, but also try to keep some of my life intact because I'm doing all of this on top of horseback riding, climbing, paddleboarding, filming, just everything in my life. Some non-fitness related things that I want to do is actually camp with all the gear that I'm planning on taking on trail. I also want to camp alone, which will be very hard for me to do. But I want to know that I can do it mentally. I just know once the sun goes down, I start getting the most irrational thoughts, and they can sometimes be very hard to control. But I do have plans to go on my first solo camp. I will be posting a video of that, and hopefully it's not like a Blair Witch reenactment. I am also going to get a complete physical and blood work done before I go because I have not been to the doctor in 10 years. So hopefully doing all this will put me in really good shape before I go out to trail. I would like to lose a couple extra pounds and be able to come out of the gate kind of swinging. I know that you're supposed to take it easy in the beginning, but I do have a pretty late start date, and I also have to do the trail relatively quickly because of work. So I want to be hitting big miles pretty quickly. And that being said, I will listen to my body, of course, and take rest when I need it. But let me know if you have any suggestions for conditioning, especially if you've done any type of thru hiking before. So, thanks for watching, and please